Civil society organisation Not In My Name took to the streets today protesting the ongoing rolling blackouts as well as the latest electricity tariff hike approved by energy regulator Nersa. The group marched to Nersa's office in Pretoria where they handed over a memorandum of demands calling for a retraction of the 18.65% tariff increase and an apology to South Africans for approving the price hike in the first place. Their march continued to the union buildings. They're also calling for rolling blackouts to be declared a national emergency. For more, I'm joined by Not In My Name President Siyabulela Jentile. Thank you very much, Mr. Jentile, for your time this evening. Can you tell us first how many people took part in today's march and whether you think you achieved the aims that you'd set out or hoped to achieve through this public awareness campaign?
Yes, thank you, Enlin, for having us this afternoon. Really, truly appreciated. Look, I do believe that the objective of the mass demonstration was indeed achieved, which one was to raise awareness, but not only to raise awareness, but also to call the South African government as well as the National Energy Regulator of South Africa into account. I'm yet to receive the exact number, or at least an estimation of the number of people that were there. But look, it was not a very big march. However, we do believe as an organization that the conviction is indeed better than numbers. And South Africans, we join millions of South Africans who are still sitting in darkness. As I'm talking to you right now, I don't have power in my house. It speaks to the depth of the crisis that we are in today. But I will say that the march, did reach its objectives. We went to Nersa, we were received by the CEO, who signed our memorandum with our demands. You mentioned earlier that, we have asked them to apologize to the nation for these tariff hikes. And then we also asked them to retract, to which they promised us to consider. So we are believing and hoping that they will do just that. And obviously later moved to the union buildings, and the director in the office of the president with the deputy, they came and then received, as arrogant as they were, they came and received our memorandum. And, we carried on our shoulders millions of South Africans who joined us through social media, through you guys as media. We thank you so much that your colleagues were there to carry this message that South Africans are indeed tired and we are doing something about this crisis.
Mr. Jentile, let's go back to Nersa. I want to talk about Eskom in a moment, but I want to talk about this electricity tariff increase granted by Nersa first of all. So the general explanation is that Eskom cannot continue producing power and doing maintenance, much needed maintenance, at the tariffs that they are currently receiving, that they will only be sustainable if they try and increase tariffs over time. But we know that South Africans just are under so much financial pressure that they cannot afford it. Where is the middle ground? Because asking Nersa to retract that tariff increase will solve the problem on the part of South African citizens, but it doesn't solve Eskom's problem.
No, I hear you very well, and we do appreciate that the National Energy Regulator was caught between a rock and a hard place, in a sense that they needed to cater for the aspirations of this failing SOE, which is Eskom. But at the same time, they also needed to alleviate the fears and the pressures that are put upon by this crisis on South Africa. You'll remember that we just came out of a global health pandemic, which means South Africans lost their jobs, people lost lives, families were broken. It was a messy situation that we came out from. And then to then say that it is upon the shoulders of South Africans to save Eskom, which we believe that Eskom problems are man-made. What is happening at Eskom is management and leadership crisis that we believe that it is not going to be solved through tariff hikes. I mean, how many bailouts has Eskom received? There is no amount that they can take those hikes to 100. Until they deal with the rot at Eskom, with the corruption at Eskom, nothing is going to happen. So unfortunately, once more, this government has chosen itself over the people of this country. And we are saying that it is time that South Africans choose themselves, and us going into the streets to demonstrate in such a manner. We are saying that we matter too. We are unemployed, we are hungry, we are starving. We don't afford that increase. South Africans barely afforded, where the existing tariffs before this hike. So it is logically impossible to expect that we are going to be able to afford this amount. So they need to sit down and find a common ground, as you're asking. They need to find a common ground. But unfortunately, we do not believe that South Africans must be sacrificed or crucified at the altar of saving Eskom. There should be qualified people there who must come up with alternative solutions that are not going to further destroy South African economy, South African social, and as well as moral mood as we are seeing happening right now. They must find another solution. It is not our responsibility to bail out Eskom. Those people are being paid, they're getting salaries, they're getting bonuses. They must just deal with the leadership crisis that is there. And then South Africans must get another thing, just to say at least, that you cannot increase tariffs and then at the same time we're getting less and less electricity. I mean, we are around stage 5 and 6, but now electricity is going up. It doesn't make sense. So we're paying more for less, actually. And it is unfair to expect South Africans to accept that. We must reject it, and we're calling on all forward-thinking South Africans to reject those tariff hikes. And we're hoping that Nersa will come out and tell us and declare that they've revoked that thing. Failure to do so, we're going to, make sure that we join others who are mass demonstrating. We're going to make sure that we continue with our campaign against Nersa and this government, as well as Eskom.
You're saying that the problems at Eskom are man-made. Many people say it's a political problem as well. You talked earlier about the arrogance of those who received your memorandum at the union buildings. Why are you saying they were arrogant? What happened?
Well, first of all, they knew that we were coming. We wrote to the presidency. They knew that we were coming. We gave them times that we'll be coming. We got there. We asked the police who were escorting us to kindly let them know that we are here. On top of that, we had to wait for them. And then after waiting for them for a while, when they came, they expected us to walk to where they were. And then we had to ask them again to please come forward to the stage where the soundtrack there. Please come forward. You are public representatives. People must understand that they are public servants. They are not doing us a favor. We are paying their salaries. They must stop thinking that the union buildings, as well as any other government post, belongs to them. It belongs to South Africans. In fact, that is why we're calling for change in governance, to say that we must remove this government. It's a very arrogant government. And then when we asked them to come, they did come, and then the people demanded that they apologize, and they blatantly refused. They said they're not going to apologize for that sort of behavior. So we're not surprised. That is the attitude of this government. It is the attitude. I mean, since 2015, President Ramaphosa came on television and said that load shedding will be a thing of the past. It is now 2023. South Africans are still sitting in darkness. So that goes to show that they do not care about ordinary South Africans. People are dying. I had a conversation earlier with the owner of a morgue who said that about bodies of our deceased loved ones. It is a mess there. You would have reported or seen that one farmer in the Northwest has lost over 40,000 chickens. Businesses are shutting down. It is just a crisis. One of my colleagues' son had an emergency yesterday. We needed to connect Nubelizer, but because there was no power, we had to drive around, try to find where we can plug that thing so that it can be able to breathe. So those are some of the challenges that we are facing. And this government does not care, really. And then they come out and say the president has cancelled the trip, as if that will make any difference. Ramaphosa's presidency has been characterized by shock as well as apologies. If he's not apologizing, he's shocked. And that does nothing for ordinary South Africans. And that is exactly the arrogance I'm talking about. They really don't care, and they must be removed next year.
Mr. Jentile, you're a civil society organization, not in my name, but we're seeing more and more civil society organizations standing up at the moment, calling for mass protests against power outages. What support have you had specifically from political parties now that you're talking politics?
Well, so far we have not on this particular issue. On other issues, we have in time and again partnered with different civic organizations, different political parties. But on today's program, we did not, exchange any views with any political party because the challenges of this blackouts or this energy crisis, they affect all of us, all South Africans, whether you are politically inclined or not, whether you belong to any organization or not. But look, we support any effort that is aimed at ensuring that load shedding is a thing of the past. So we will also be joining any other demonstration that will be taking place in South Africa. Unfortunately, we don't have the funds and the resources to litigate. However, we have noted that there are those organizations and political parties who have gone to court. If we had those resources, we would also be joining them, either as friends of court or open our own cases, because what this government is doing is abusing the people of this country. They're trampling on our basic human rights. So we are open to engaging any political party that is wanting to fight against the abuse of this government. And we did acknowledge that we partnered with other organizations such as the Mamelodi and Melmapias Yesteres Forum today, and other organizations which are in and around Pretoria and Gauteng, where people coming all the way from Bloemfontein, as small as we were. We also had our different branches from Garankuwa and Atteridgeville, as well as Mamelodi. So we are open to engagement. It is not a Not in My Name program. It is not a particular organization X or political party X as issue. All South Africans must come out, even journalists. And I want to say thank you, or I want to be on record to say thank you to you guys as journalists of this country. I'm proud of you today, colleagues in the media space who came out and carried this story. Many would have wished that it did not get the coverage that it got, but you guys were there. And that's why I'm saying, I said earlier that we were there in a certain number, but we carried millions of South Africans with us because you covered us, and I really wish to thank you for that.
Can you tell us where to from now? Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so we need to be quick. But what is the next step? Have you given a period within which you are expecting reaction from both Nersa and government? What's the next step?
Yes, quickly. Yeah, we did. Obviously, we made our demands. We did say that we wanted those monthly family meetings that he was doing during COVID. This thing must be declared a state of national disaster. And we've given them 21 days to respond effectively, to respond with something that makes sense. Failure to do so, in addition to joining other parties and other civic organizations who will be protesting and doing all this and that, we have said that if they do not respond, we are then going to take our mass protest further. And then we're going to shut down the major highways, which is the N4 as well as the N1.
Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. That was Not in My Name President Siyabulela Jentile speaking to us about their march today, both to the offices of Nersa and to the union buildings with memorandums of demand for not only the retraction of the 18.65% tariff increase on electricity, but also for load shedding and power cuts to be declared a national disaster.